Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Great to see you. All
Good to see you as well.
righty. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, wherever you're at in the world. I am Trina Schmidt. I'm a licensed therapist and relationship coach. And I have the honor today to sit down with Carolyn, who have recently become a dear friend of mine. We are super aligned in how we view the world, how we serve people, and want to come in and have an amazing discussion today about just how to have a voice in this world, how to talk about things that we're not talking about. So, Carolyn Murphy is a mindfulness or a mind shift coach. She's an author and she's a peer specialist, and she knows a lot about what it's like to push things kind of under the rug and not talk about things because we're not supposed to be talking about these things, right? And if we can just move past some of the shame and move past some of the uncomfortable feelings and embrace that and take responsibility for that, we can kind of transition into feeling free and powerful and empowered. Carolyn, thank you so much for having this discussion today, having this amazing connection today. I just feel so honored being here with you.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. I appreciate the opportunity because, um, like you said, this is the hard things is what needs to be talked about. And I am so glad that we met, that you reached out to me, and I pray that this goes further.
Mm. So Carolyn and I met under circumstances of finding a voice and stepping outside of our comfort zone. And I'm like, let's go live, let's have this discussion out where people can be inspired of having more of these discussions. What I find is that we don't talk enough about being human, about having emotions, about mental wellness, about how crazy our minds are at times and what to do about it. Anybody have crazy minds out there? Okay, just say me in the chat if you sometimes feel that way because we just do not talk about what's normal. We don't talk about what's not normal, what's not healthy. And a lot of us engage in things that are just not healthy, right? I mean, let's talk about that first. What is it that we do on a regular basis, both like internally but outwardly too, that is not healthy? What do we do when we're not mentally aligned with who we are?
Well, coming from experiencing child trauma,
Mm,
and I've learned that there are ways that we cope. I've learned just recently, well, within the last couple of years, there's two ways to cope. There's a healthy coping and there's negative or bad coping. And I explain it by trauma is a big wound, a big gaping hole. And we try to put band-aids over a open wound. And the band-aids is drinking, smoking,
mm,
sexing,
mm.
in and out of toxic relationships. You know, whatever we gravitate to help us feel better while we're going through the trauma.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about a wound, unless you clean it up, clean it out, and put some gauze in it
Mm,
and let it heal on its own, you're just going to continue to bleed out.
mm, mm.
And that's what I tell people when you have experienced any type of trauma and you have not gotten to the point where you're on that healing journey, facing what's going on, being peace with it, those wounds are you're bleeding all over yourself and anybody that you come in contact with.
Mm.
And so at that point, it starts to affect our health, our emotional, mental status. We're hollering at our children, at our spouse. I mean, all these things happen. So that's why I tell people if you just shoot off the hip, you're angry all the time, those are clear signs that something deeper is wrong.
Mm,
And so we build walls. And then those walls, we say that's our comfort zone. But little did we know the comfort zone really is our own prison.
mm. Yeah, so we get ourselves pretty stuck,
Mhm.
right? And then we get comfortable being stuck in this unhealthy, self-deprecating cycles of either outwardly not having healthy relationships or engaging in things that are numbing, right? Or have a really, really, really toxic self-talk, attacking ourselves. I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough. I'm settling. I can't stand up for myself, right? I don't want to get up tomorrow, feeling depressed. So we engage in these things in different ways because we don't know what else to do. This has have been my mission in life to bring relationship health to the forefront of if we don't talk about this, we're gonna get ourselves in a lot of doo-doo in life. It's gonna resurface if we don't shed the light on that dark silhouette in the corner that keeps lurking. Because if we're constantly afraid of something coming at us, we will have the walls up, we will have defenses up, and the stories multiply. And if we don't address that and we're not recognizing that, it will surface at some point in our lives. If anybody's out there thinking that, oh, I had things happen in my life and I'm fine. Have you ever heard that one before? I'm, that's not happening to me. It will catch up in some shape or form in the way that we are parenting, the way we show up in a relationship. The more avoidant we are of the fact that this doesn't have any harm to me, it will come down either through illness in our body. Okay, this is trauma will get stuck in our body. If anybody read the book, The Body Keeps Score, right? So this manifests physically. So if we have physical issues, there are other things happening, emotional, psychological, that we can really look at. Seeps into our relationships, seeps into our faith, right? And not trusting life in general. What are things that you see on this aspect of avoiding these things that we really should be talking about?
Well, you know, just like I said earlier, the drinking,
Mm,
the like I said, the common thing is trying to numb the pain.
yeah.
And so I know for me, speaking of me, I was
Mm,
very mean, not trusting at all.
yeah.
Um, and not until I got pregnant with my first son, I saw that I needed to change because if I didn't, I was going to inflict the pain on him that had already been inflicted on me.
Yeah. Wow. That was a powerful kind of awakening, aha moment. I mean, how did you do that? I mean, people watching this and listening to this, they're like, okay, I might recognize that I need to change and make different decisions, but how do you do that when we're surrounded with people that continuously do not make very mature choices?
For me, to be honest about it, by me being a believer, I have a connection with the Lord, and my biggest thing is I never want to inflict pain on others the way that had been inflicted on me. So, in other words, when I meet someone, I want to leave them in a better space
Mm,
than what I found them.
mm,
That has always been ingrained in me. So, I've always been very conscious of how I meet people. Um, my my meanness was towards men.
mm.
That's where the meanness came out of. And so I really had to work on that part. But I knew that I did not want to treat my babies the way that I was treating because I grew up feeling unloved, unwanted, and unheard.
Yeah.
And I know how it felt. And
Mm,
I didn't want to keep that generational curse going.
mm. So you really walked the walk and turned over all those stones and recognizing I don't want to be that person anymore because we're shaped by our caretakers, people we grew up around, the messages that were instilled in us, the stories, the conclusions that we sometimes make, very faulty conclusions about how people didn't see us or didn't love us or didn't hear us and we don't deserve and we can't do this because we were told not to or we think we were told not to. And all of that shapes who we think we are, which is kind of an illusion, right? Because none of that is who we are. Our stories are not who we are. Our emotions are not who we are. Our thoughts are not even who we are, right? I thoroughly believe that we're complete and whole as who we are here today, here with you, Carolyn, where we can just look soul to soul, knowing that you're exactly who you're supposed to be and who you are, with all the human flaws that we all have navigating this life on Earth, which is perfectly fine because that's how we grow and expand. We have to sometimes fail quicker to grow quicker, right? It's only through contrast that we'll expand.
What helped me? Well, I am a lover of knowledge.
Mm.
And so while I was pregnant, I began to read parenting magazines
Mm.
and I began to implement the things that I read. I think I remember reading something about music, classical music. I've always loved classical music. And I distinctively remember turning on some classical music as loud as it could go in some headphones. And I stretched the headphones around my belly so that my son
I
can
love
hear
that.
it. And he's 32 today. And both my sons, one is 32 and 26, love classical music. So I play classical music, and because I wanted them to be well-rounded young men.
Mm.
So, but whatever brought calmness and peace to the house,
Mm.
I tried it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that. So for people listening and that can kind of recognize I need more calmness and stillness in my life, right? I don't want to be that person that or the person that I was around when I was growing up. And sometimes that can be really hard to navigate, especially as a parent. You know, I'm a parent of three girls. I was divorced about 8 years ago. I know how it's like to go through something that you never thought you were going to go through, right? We don't have kids to intend on being a single parent or even be divorced. That certainly was never my goal. And when I had to face that kind of staring in my eyes and be like, Trina, this is going to be the highest choice and the best choice for me in order for me to expand into the human being and the best partner that I can be in life. That's on my journey. I don't think that there's a right or wrong when it comes to divorce, or there's a right or wrong when it comes to really in parenting in general. There's so many ways of us to come from. However, we have to come from this aligned space of self-respect and respect from others without stepping over into their life and taking responsibility for their emotional journey. This is where this struggle come from sometimes because we feel so powerless at times what other people are kind of doing to us. That is very hard for us to kind of take charge and make informed decisions of stepping into, this feels best for me. And you can do you, and I can do me. This is the journey that I take a lot of my clients on is how can I be empowered, making informed decision and feel good about the choices that I make in life, regardless of what other people say, regardless of how I thought things should have been. What are some things that you have navigated or you've seen people kind of navigate where they have to fight this, but we don't talk about this. This is kind of taboo. What are other people going to think about me if I make this choice?
Well, for me, it seems like everything was taboo in my life. But I was a single mother. I was, I decided at a young age that education was going to be my way out. Um, I didn't, I didn't think I was going to become a single mother. So I'm a single mother of two. So I call myself a lady in waiting. To be married. I'm glad that I did wait, because I probably would have ended up divorced with the mindset that I had. But that is, being a single mother is not talked about. Um, Mental health is is not talked about. Um, I just, it's like you said earlier, it's time to start talking about the taboo things.
Yes.
And because they are the norm.
Mm.
So why are we so scared to still talk about the things that is a
Mm.
part of life?
Yes. Yes. And why is that? Well, you know what? I don't know if you've read Mel Robbins' Let Them Theory. When that book came out, and this is not a new concept, Carolyn, but it's the way she's written it in such a basic terms and how avoidant we are of feeling our feelings, recognizing them, and allowing them to just be is just so right on because we live in a society that is so fear-based and we're so conditioned to avoid things that are uncomfortable because negative emotions are bound to surface. But guess what? We're human beings and we have emotions. It's part of our human existence, right? The goal is not to get rid of emotions. I mean, thank goodness, right? Because they give us cues to what's happening in our bodies right now. They manifest in our body as different bodily sensations, but they're 6-second bursts of energies, chemical explosions in the brain that disappear, quicker than 90 seconds if they're processed, if they're just left alone. The problem is we don't leave them alone, right? So when we start making up stories about it, oh my gosh, I can't believe she said that. I can't believe they looked at me that way, right? And the only thing that's really happening is I'm feeling embarrassed, or I'm feeling insecure, or I'm feeling X, Y, and Z. We make it about someone else. And now we have conflict. Now we have kind of the raised eyebrow, the look, the the closed off body language, I can't believe, right? And it snowballs. And I really wanted to bring that up. I mean, Carol and I haven't really prepared for anything today. This is not like a prepared thing. This is just us like catching up and talking about this stuff to kind of normalize the human experience of mental wellness is us regulating our emotions in the most natural, healthy state. Just leaving them as they are, not making them into something else. She's like nodding away, just like, yeah,
I,
let's do this.
when you were talking, the word expectation, and
Yes.
I learned this not too long ago. There's a good side of expectation, but the problem is when we put more into expectation. Maybe I just should say goal, but expectation, I found out that ruins a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
And it even hurts us
Mm.
because I didn't realize this until the Lord showed me that I need to grieve unmet expectations.
Oh, that's so good. Oh,
I need to
anybody
explore
put like
that.
grieve in
Yeah.
the chat if you're listening to this. This is so good.
hmm
Grieve unmet expectations, unrealistic expectation, anything
hmm
that did not come to
hmm
fruition that we were convinced we deserved
hmm
or we thought we
hmm
were supposed to have.
hmm
Keep going.
hmm
Oh, it's so good.
and when it first came to me, I was talking to another life coach, and but it came to me in regards to unmet expectations with our children,
Yes.
our spouses.
Mm,
Because when it comes to our children, the problem is we try to live through our children.
mm,
So I think they call them helicopter parents. They're
mm-hmm.
all over their children
Oh, yes.
and insisting that they go to school to become doctors and lawyers,
Mm,
and
mm.
it's like, what about that child? What do you think they want? And then when they try to tell you what they want to do,
Yes.
listen.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm in this space about in increasing awareness when it comes to childhood trauma, because
Mm.
just you constantly ignoring your child, not even allow them to express their emotions, less knowing their words, that's trauma.
Yes.
So unmet expectations can ruin you.
Mm. I love that you brought that up. I call it the um, stay in your own lane rule. And I really had to kind of learn this the hard way because, I was not taught this. I was raised with parents who definitely didn't stay in their own lane and try to fix each other's problems and then passive aggressively throwing it back in the other person's face. And the more you complain, the more you get your needs met, which is totally counterintuitive, but that's just what was modeled, right? And so you become a young adult and you're like, well, I guess this is how I get my needs met, right? We yell a little louder, we pout a little bit, we complain some more, and then people should somehow magically figure out how we want it, right? And now we're doing the same thing to our children. So we're stepping over into their lane and we're doing everything for them, right? No, 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 but you need water. No, 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 but you need this, right? And we're running the race with them in their lane. And they're like, get out of my lane, right? I want to do it this way. And I'm like, well, I know best. You need to listen. You're not respectful, right? And this is like a whole other can of worms in terms of parenting. But stay in your own lane rule. You know how children my daughter has just turned 5 and she just started learning to like color within the lines, right? But when she was 3, my husband was kind of worried that she was just kind of coloring over all the lines, right? And he was kind of, why should she not like, should we not practice like coloring within the line? I'm like, no, let her do what she wants to do. But unless we know what the lines look like, and unless we know, does it even matter if we like color within the lines or not? Like, who says that we have to on a piece of paper? But and when it comes to like stay in your own lane rule, a lot of times we don't know what the lines look like. We don't even know when we have crossed over somebody else's boundaries and somebody else's lines. Like like again, I insist my kids they drink water all the time, right? And a lot of times that is stepping over their line because if they don't want to have water and they want to like get dizzy and pass out, I mean, at the end of the day, it's their choice. Am I responsible for them? Yes. But I don't need to jump over into their lane to make that happen because now it becomes controlling and imposing, and they're not going to learn from their own mistakes. So defining those lines is really tricky. And this is something that Carolyn helps with her coaching clients. This is something that I help with my coaching clients in having conscious relationships, which means having being hyper aware of who you are as a person and who the other person is as a person. I'm 100% me, they're 100% them. And how to navigate a healthy relationship, how to navigate conflict, how to navigate this stuff that comes up, trauma or triggers that come up during our relationship, how to navigate that in a way that's completely respectful for me and respectful for the other person, right? So this is what we're experts in. Tell tell them a little bit about what you help your clients with as a coach.
I am a Christian, mental wellness Christian life coach. And my desire is to get the person to embrace their mental wellness so they can move mental health so they can move to mental wellness. Not until we start accepting the fact that we have emotions,
Mm.
we need to allow ourselves to feel them without judgment. Once we get to that point, that to accept the fact that we're human, because that's what we do. And we can move then to mental wellness,
Mm.
which includes all of the self-care things that are out there. And it's just hundreds of things that you can do. So my help statement is I help Christian women 40 and older that are professional women that are moving into the empty nester phase.
Mm.
Because, as we wear so many hats and we get lost in the shuffle.
Oh, yes.
So, and I'm still learning this myself. I'm an empty nester. But to say, okay, I'm going to take care of me without having to feel all of the guilt behind it.
Yes.
So I help Christian professional women that are on their recovery journey, their healing journey,
Yeah.
because if you're not on your healing journey, which is making peace with the past,
Mm.
you can't move forward.
Mm.
So that is my huge, huge stipulation. You've got to be on your healing journey and you've got to be open to transformation.
Yes.
You moving forward because that's what
Mm.
it is.
Yes.
And so I want to help them break up with fear, to discover their God-given purpose,
Mm.
and to prioritize self-care.
Oh, break up with fear. I just love that. That is just Carolyn. If you guys haven't you know, gotten her book and what's the title of your book again?
The name of the book is God, Why Did You
Yeah, Why
Save
Did You
Me?
Save Me? Oh, I love that. And really and that goes with that breakup with fear. I love that because we are just all married to fear.
Hmm.
We're all
Yes.
married to fear. And it's funny how we talk about divorce today because that is a divorce that we want to claim today. And if you're on your healing path and you know that change is about to enter your life, I just encourage you guys to jump on a journey with Carolyn, jump on a journey with me. Let us walk you through all of that. We can't do it alone. We don't all have the vocabulary. We were not raised in a society with people and parents that had the emotional intelligence of guiding us through what we feel, why we feel a certain way, and how to put that in context. I mean, this is what we do for a living. This is what we're trained in. And having somebody gone through that process yourself, because you know what all of those steps look like, right? She's a peer specialist. Like she knows what this stuff is all about. I love that. And for for me, I love helping people getting to relationship freedom. Relationship freedom is about feeling authentically who you are, whether you are in a relationship or you are out getting a divorce or breaking up with somebody, single. Relationship freedom, I want you to feel everywhere. And once you awaken to that space of not repeating the mistakes that we did in the past and not starting to, like you're talking about empty nesters, or, we wake up at a point where we've kind of raised children or they're kind of halfway out of the house and you're like, well, who am I? I've met so many women that are just all of a sudden, because we're more self-aware at times and we're more conscious about what happens and we want more to life. And what do we do? What do we do? And where are the people that can support us in that? We might have outgrown some friends. We might have living as a parent at a different level than a lot of the people around us. So where do we create that support? I think it's very important that people know how kind of to get to that next level and what that looks like. I want you to feel free. I want you to feel empowered. I want you to feel good about yourself on a regular basis that you got this. That whatever life hands you, that you know how to navigate that. And we will not always know how to, but you would have enough confidence that every day nothing is gonna get you in bed with the covers up over your head because you always have a choice. And this is why we're having this conversation today is like stop avoiding, okay? Embrace what's coming up. Like let's prioritize mental wellness because that is what's going to set you free. All the stuff that we've been taught is not real. I mean, it's just is not real. The fear that's holding us is really not real. We just believe that it's real. So I have an upcoming masterclass on Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard for women who wants to navigate divorce feeling empowered and feeling strong and feeling clarity. I want I want you to know that everything in life happens for a reason, and there is a way to navigate that, not feeling ashamed, not feeling the guilt, and not feeling confused on where to go. When I got divorced, I did not know where to go. I felt super isolated. Nobody around me had gotten divorced, and I felt I couldn't talk to it about anybody. And when I talked to people about it, they didn't understand. Well, why would they? And how could they? I didn't know what to expect. This is why I've created this course because I want people to know what to expect. Want people to know how to take that power back after feeling defeated for a while and using this as a springboard to learning about yourself, but then getting to that relationship freedom and relationship health. So we're going to put the link in there. We're going to have Carolyn's information on here. It's just such an honor to be here with you and your people. We're going to um, have you on my space too, because it just is so important to be talking about this.
I totally agree. Um, there is a workshop that I'm working on, and it's called Faith Over Fear.
Mm,
And I'm planning it for next month, to be exact, April the 19th. And we're going to explore reframing your thoughts when it comes to fear. Fear is not failure.
mm,
And it makes me think about that song. I think it's Crowder. Fear is a liar.
yes, totally.
Fear is a liar.
Oh, yes.
And, we just have to, and I'm still working on this myself because that's one of the many fears that I dealt with. Fear of failure, fear of
Mm,
abandonment, fear of the unknown,
yes.
fear of success. I mean, it was just knee deep. And that's what kept me from learning who I am, that kept me from learning that I have a purpose and even searching for that purpose. So there's the good side of fear, which is the human emotion that keeps us aware. But then that's that chronic fear that keeps us stuck, that keeps us playing small. And I'm just so happy to be able to step into this space because fear kept whispering in my ear, like you said, I'm not good enough. Who's going to listen to me? I never had a voice. I grew up in a time where children were seen and not heard, so I was already muzzled. But then when I experienced the child trauma, which was molestation, that silenced me
Mm,
for the rest of my little life until 2018, really.
mm.
I began the process. I was like, Lord, I trust you. I'm tired. I've lived in this bubble of not moving anywhere, but seeing life just pass me by. And really, 2023 is when I said I broke up with fear, but I break up with it daily
Mm,
because I
mm.
broke up with the fear is a declaration, but you still have to practice it every day.
It's a choice. It's a choice. And you took your power back. And for
Took
anybody
my
that is listening to this, listening to the courage, you're such an inspiration, Carolyn. Speaking this out loud is just what we need to be doing for the rest of, I don't know how many, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3, I think girls are experience some kind of sexual abuse, sexual violation in their lifetime. I mean, that's a lot, but we're not talking about it, right? And these violations happen because we are incapable of tolerating our own emotions. So people step into overpowering and manipulation and control, and then power over happens. So we need to educate about this. But the best way of doing that is delving yourself into a program or into a workshop where you can be guided through step by step, unraveling, recognizing how much of the fear is an underlying program. You're talking about the chronic fear. I love that. We're not aware of it until we're aware of it. We're really not aware of how incredibly overpowering it is. So we're so excited to have had this conversation today. Anybody who resonate with it, we would love to know, where are you stuck on your journey? Like, what is the hardest part about you having a voice or overcoming, going through divorce or divorcing yourself from fear with kind of the pressure of the society around? Where are you stuck? How can we help? So we'd love to get your feedback back on that. Put that in the comments. Um, and then reach out. If you have any questions, just reach out to us directly. See how we can help navigate. We have incredible resources, incredible network. You're not on this journey alone. We're right here. We're going to have more conversations like this. We'll be back on here. So if you find it inspirational, let us know. All right. Well, I think that this has just been good hump day today. It's Wednesday today. No, it's Tuesday today. Oh my gosh, I skipping a day. Okay, process the embarrassment, Trina. Okay, self-regulating, 6 seconds. Okay, see, it's really not that bad as
It's
soon as you
not.
recognize it.
Yes, it's not. And to be honest, I woke up thinking yesterday was Tuesday.
Well, see, we're already a
So,
day
yeah,
ahead. Maybe we need to launch this on a Wednesday too.
good deal.
There we go. All right, my dear. Until next time, everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening in, and we'll make sure that you have all the information to reach us out. So thanks, Carolyn. I really appreciate you. Soul to soul.